defeated by reality with what's happening. In all the walks of life, we have been mentioning the problem of climate change and deterioration of the environment. We know for sure that we are in big dangers, but we have to prepare to face that.
Thank you, Asya. President Tuck, what do you think are the two key challenges?
Well, first, thank you very much for having invited me for this splendid occasion. I would like to tell you, I enjoyed the dancers very much. I mean, this was really a great display of energy. And I would like to say youth having good time, young people having good time. And that's very important. That brings a sense of optimism and a sense of ability, capacity to face the challenges of our time. So it's actually a very good introduction to what we, older people who cannot dance as well as those youngsters could, can say now, I mean, in more verbal sense.
Which dance you would like to have again?
Well, I would like to have the one with the Sikh.
Bhangra?
Yes.
Where are our Sikh dancers?
The Sikhs, that was really very good.
Be ready in the end for a Bhangra.
Now, but let me answer your the question that you asked on the two challenges. I would like to say income inequality and generally inequality is rising in the world. The question is therefore, where are the solutions? And you have asked, Sandeep, whether we have among young people around here future Nobel laureates. I hope there will be one or two, or maybe more. One area where I think it's worth exploring is the question of universal basic income. That may respond to several questions when reducing income inequality and also providing a sense of stability, a sense of future. Now, there are people who say that there is not enough resources in the world and so forth, but in areas where this has been tried, and this has been tried in places as diverse as Canada, Finland, and also in India, I understand. There are 9 villages where this was tried. The income inequality has been reduced and the sense of future was restored. And I think that that's really a very important path to follow. The second thing that I would like to mention is water. Of course, I was chairing the global panel on water and peace. And we have been looking into water issues very carefully because unlike many other natural resources, water has no substitute. The only substitute for water is water. So you need to find a solution. And as I was reading today, today's issue of the Times of India, I saw a very interesting article about the Supreme Court judgment, which followed some of the international law principles on sharing water resources within the federal system of India based on the same principles as we advocated in our panel report. So what I'm saying is water is a big challenge, but there are also solutions there, and the Supreme Court of India has indicated some. So that would be my answer to your questions.
Thank you, President Tuck. And no, I'm not going to come to you, Grand Mufti. Let me go to the Lord, then I'll come to you last for a reason. Lord Allardyce, what do you think are the two challenges?
Thank you very much indeed, Sandeep, and thanks for the very kind welcome and hospitality. I've been here in Pune before, and I'm very, very glad to be back, and I hope it's not the last time. So what are the two great challenges? I suppose from my point of view, the first challenge is the challenge to contain our capacity for violence and destruction. You see, there are many threats and challenges and difficulties we face with artificial intelligence, with the social change, with the sheer number of people, and you can't come to a country like India and not appreciate the enormity of the population growth of this country and of the world in general. In all of these circumstances, the danger is that we turn to violence against each other. And as we look around the world, this is a major challenge for us. And we now, since 1945, have the capacity to destroy the whole world and make it completely uninhabitable, because we have the power of nuclear war. So for me, the first great challenge is how do we cope with, how do we face, how do we deal with our human capacity for violence and destruction? Because if we don't deal with that, all the long-term problems of the environment and the growth of technology and so on, we'll never live to see them. And the second challenge that we have is related to it. And it is the challenge to develop our principles and ethics to make them appropriate for the new world. You see, many of our principles, our approach to law, to religion, to governance and politics, even to ethical questions, were based on a world that is no longer going to exist. We now have the capacity to develop life, to change it genetically, to make all sorts of differences to the way we are as individuals, to create intelligence that can challenge us as human beings. And the old answers that we had for a world that is passing away will not be sufficient to give us the answers to these questions. So for me, Sundeep, the two great challenges are how we cope with and contain our capacity for violence and aggression in the face of challenge, and secondly, how to develop our principles and ethics beyond those which we inherited from the past to be capable of helping us to face the challenges of the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Grand Mufti is from Bosnia-Herzegovina. The capital is Sarajevo, which is an extremely important city in the history. My next question is not to Grand Mufti, but to all of you. Can any student or faculty member, Vice Chancellor is not allowed, Ramraja is not allowed to answer this, because Ramraja knows quite a lot about everything happening here and there. But any student and faculty member, can you answer what happened in Sarajevo exactly, or almost 100 years ago, that changed the world? Does anybody know the answer? Yes, you can. Sorry? That, not end of World War I, the start of World War I, 1914. Yeah. World War I ended later, but it started in 1914 with an incident that happened in Sarajevo. And so the question to you, Grand Mufti, is Lord Allardyce just now said that one of our big challenge of this century is how to contain our capacity to destruct ourselves and destruct the society. And before that, Asya said we are going through a phase of uncertainty. Danilo Talk said we are going through a phase of inequality, technological change. So if you combine technological change, uncertainty, crisis of resources like water, and then our failure to contain our ability to destroy, all that leads to the risk of war. So do you see, coming from Sarajevo and the experience of Sarajevo, any risk of major world war in this century?
Salam alaikum, peace upon you all. I cannot but say how honored I am to be one of the friends of your great Professor Sandeep, whom I knew from Davos, who brought me to great nation of India. So, salam to all India. I like you. I am envious of you, of your youth and energy that I see in here. And I have one advice why, or reason why I am envious of you. You live in a different world than I when I was a teenager. When I was a teenager, water was free and clean. You can drink any time in the nature. but music was for money. And I was poor, so I could not enjoy music when I was a teenager. Now, you have music free, but water is for money, and it's not clean. So my advice to you is, please, keep water clean for your future. This is the biggest challenge that we have today. And second, please allow me. As you know, I am Grand Mufti, lived in the war and in the peace. And Sarajevo is the city where at the beginning of the last century, the First World War started, and the last century ended with the war in Sarajevo. So 20th century for me is the beginning and end being the war and genocide against my people, as you know. Now, but because of that, I bring you peace, and because of that, I know the meaning of peace. And because of that, I want to share with you, in my khutbahs, I used this wisdom of Mahatma Gandhi when he was in 1925. Some say he got it from England, but I think this is his wisdom when he talked about so-called 7 social deadly sins. Among them is pleasure without conscience and politics without principle. And science without character, and religion without morality or sacrifice. Now, I would add new challenges of 21st century based on these 7 deadly social sins. One is, please remember this. I got it from Mahatma Gandhi, and I am his pupil. I learned from him. President Ali Izetbegovic, before he died, he was asked, would he change anything in his policy? He said, if I am at the beginning of the conflict in ex-Yugoslavia, I would adopt what Mahatma Gandhi adopted in India, to fight with peaceful messages all around the world. So because of that, I want to pass to you wisdom, a small wisdom from my small country to the biggest country, one of the biggest country, biggest people in the world, India. I recently was in Kashmir. I wish you all the best. There is nothing more precious in this world today than this magic world of peace. Without peace, we have nothing and we are nobody. Because of that, you have to keep your flora and fauna very good. And my advice, as I said, is please don't allow that your hearts be without love. And don't allow that your minds be without knowledge. Information is not knowledge. Information sometimes is garbage. So you have to be careful and to distinguish and to make a difference between knowledge and information. Social media is not knowledge, it's only information. Sometimes hateful, sometimes very garbage information. So you have to clean up your mind and put knowledge in it. And also challenge that I see, the most challenge for you and for all of us is life without purpose. We have to define and redefine the purpose of our life. Please.
Grand Mufti,
I just want, yes.
but you didn't answer my question.
Yes.
Do you see the risk of big war in this century?
What? I didn't see.
Do,
No, I don't see that we will witness the Third World War. You know why? Because those who are producing the wars, they are producing so-called regional low-level, low-intensity conflicts. So you can see one region has a conflict, and when it finished, the other region has a conflict. So these who produce the weapons, they are producing these conflicts, regional conflicts. So, even the Pope said that he is sensing the Third World War, or the Third World War started. I believe that it is the time that we understand that instead of the holy war, we have to pray for the holy peace. Instead of the just war, we have to pray for the just peace. And instead of writing the books about the art of war, we have to write the book about the art of peace. This is the message today and forever.
Thank
Thank
you.
you very much.
Thank you.